Today's episode is brought to you by the Whole Life Decluttering Workshop, featuring a proprietary 6-step system, the Simple System, to help you declutter your life in a way that will last. Purchase this workshop on demand and receive the video training and dedicated workbook at positivelyproductive.com/resources. The problem with the system as it is that you are set up for failure when you try to be productive without honoring who you are, what actually matters to you, how you work best, and what you're working with in your life. The part I think everyone misses is what happens once you get clear and you turn this around to take action that honors who you are, focusing on what matters to you, and taking action in a way that's best for you, not anyone else, for you, that's flexible and acknowledges and works with the current phase of your life. What happens is you become positively productive. You thrive. All that can come from self-awareness and a connected, aligned action. Yeah, but the part that hasn't been highlighted yet is this. You need to find it and you need to own it. It's not only taking the right action, it's taking intentional action. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zawrotny, founder of Positively Productive Systems and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneur life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and today I'm highlighting something crucial to productivity: taking intentional action. The concept is an underlying theme that threads through all of our shame-free conversations here on the podcast, but I felt it was time to feature it. Have you ever gone through your day just reacting to things as they come up, putting out fires, running on that hamster wheel? And sometimes you don't even know how you got there, and you definitely don't know how to stop. That's reactive action, the opposite of intentional action. Too often we live our lives in that reactive state. Sometimes it's accidental. Usually it's well-intentioned because we're just trying to get by. And way too often, the result isn't productivity, but guilt and stress. We're taught to see productivity as something we need to approach in a certain specific way. But that way has historically been designed by type A, singularly focused people. These experts and examples are what you might describe as neurotypical. While I'm not a fan of that term, the fact is those with strong executive function are able to take traditional productivity solutions and thrive with them. There's a reason that these techniques work for them. But the issue I have with this is that the rest are left to feel like there's something wrong with them. I see my clients struggle with this constantly. In our society, we're made to believe that productivity comes from working hard, that if you hustle and grind, you'll succeed. We feel like we can't stop, we can't rest, we can't back down. And if we do, we're lazy, we're unfocused, we lack the drive and dedication. Not only is this not accurate, it's a dangerous approach. It's the kind of mindset that can lead directly and quickly to burnout. I first addressed this concern in episode 61 about freedom from the hustle mentality, which you might want to listen to when we're done here today. I've always taken great issue with the inflexible and demanding approach of traditional productivity advice, especially having lived a life where I didn't have the capacity or the means to do the things that were asked of me in the way they were asked of me. Traditional solutions of detailed time management and updating planners and creating habits and routines that take hours are only reasonable for a small subset of the population. My clients are the ones dealing with things in life that I have, such as caregiving and chronic illness. They're the creatives and the multi-passionates with so many ideas, yet sometimes limited energy, or at the very least, limited time. They may be dealing with trauma and grief and depression. And because traditional productivity advice is so prevalent, those clients are trying to manage their time and their lives based on all this outward guidance that doesn't consider any of these aspects of their lives. Then, adding insult to injury, when the advice doesn't work for them, they feel like it's their fault, that they're the failure. This is simply not so. And if you take one thing away from today's episode, please let it be that. So if this productivity trap sounds familiar to you, if you have struggled with traditional productivity approaches and felt like there was something wrong with you, here's what you need to know. It is not you who failed. It's the systems that have failed you. But as always, I come with encouraging advice. There is something we can do about it. The problem with the system as it is that you are set up for failure when you try to be productive without honoring who you are, what actually matters to you, how you work best, and what you're working with in your life. And though I say this repeatedly, the part I think everyone misses is what happens once you get clear and you turn this around to take action that honors who you are, focusing on what matters to you, and taking action in a way that's best for you, not anyone else, for you, that's flexible and acknowledges and works with the current phase of your life. What happens is you become positively productive. You thrive. You get done what you need to get done so you can do more of what you want to do and be with those who you want to be with. Your life satisfaction increases. Your stress decreases. You feel more confident and accomplished. You feel successful. That's the life we want to be living, right? So all that can come from self-awareness and a connected, aligned action. Yeah. But the part that hasn't been highlighted yet is this. You need to find it and you need to own it. It's not only taking the right action, it's taking intentional action. So what do we mean by that? The word intentional, it's a popular buzzword, so let's break it down. Being intentional means being purposeful and deliberate about what you do. Intentional action means choosing your actions based on important aspects of your life, like your goals and values, and it means being mindful of your energy and your capacity. For example, let's say you have a big project due. Instead of diving in and working on it until you're exhausted, take a step back and ask yourself some critical questions that will maximize how you approach this. What are the most important tasks? What can I realistically accomplish today or tomorrow or between now and the deadline? What resources do I need to be successful? There are more questions than that, but those are some great examples where by taking a few minutes to plan and prioritize and to understand how you need to come at this project, you'll be able to work more efficiently and effectively. And by choosing to approach the project in a way that aligns with how you work best, you will set yourself up for success. Taking action isn't just about purposeful, deliberate action. When what you do is intentional, it means you've made a choice, which means acceptance, including self-acceptance. Intentional action is about recognizing and leaning into your tendencies, your strengths, your values and preferences, and unapologetically finding productivity in a way that suits you. The benefits of intentional action are many. The main one relating to our conversation today is improved productivity. It really is essential to be productive, especially in the way that we are defining it. But under that umbrella, you'll find benefits like achieving clarity about what matters most to you because you are in a path of self-discovery, so you will figure this out now. Managing your time better. That goes with it. When you are selective about what you're doing with your time, you'll manage it better. Making better decisions. Again, because you're stepping back and asking yourself the right questions, you're going to make better decisions as a result. Reduced overwhelm and decreased distractions. Better focus does mean decreased distractions because you have something you're honing in on and you are going to crowd out the other things that don't apply, which are often the distractions. Strengthening relationships and having personal growth and increased self-confidence all round this out. And there are more, but that's a fantastic set to work with, don't you think? If you've listened to episodes about approaching productivity with compassion, like episode 189 on why it's essential for productivity, you'll find similar benefits. I have mentioned many of these things before. And I've been saying for years that we need to acknowledge how interconnected all aspects of our lives are and how our productivity is impacted by all of it, for good or bad. The more we allow for that and plan accordingly by taking intentional action, the better off we'll be. Here are a few things to consider as you strive to take more intentional action. First, get to know yourself. And that's something I've talked about so much here. Self-awareness as one of your number one productivity tools. What are your values? What are your goals? What are your strengths and weaknesses? Once you have a better understanding of who you are, you can start making choices that are aligned with your true self. That's the first step I take with clients, and I have a free resource that allows anyone to get started on their own. The Positively Productive Toolkit is a free collection of workbooks that guide you through this self-discovery and self-awareness, helping you identify and assess different aspects of who you are. You can request it for free at positivelyproductive.com/resources. The second step in taking more intentional action would be to set boundaries. Here's where saying no is not only going to be helpful, it's going to be necessary. It's not just okay to say no to things that don't serve you. It's an essential life practice. So is taking breaks when you need them and prioritizing your own well-being. These topics sound familiar? Exactly. They're going to keep coming up because they are what we need to be practicing in order to be our most productive and most happy and positive self. Being intentional about what you do means looking out for you. You'll find conversations about these topics on the podcast page. Check out the self-care playlist for a ton of really great episodes, all about self-care in a way that's doable. And be sure to search for episodes on saying no, like 117 on doing so without feeling guilty or rude, and 235 on when you must say no. The third thing you want to consider is to be flexible. Things rarely go according to plan. Life throws more things at you, sometimes when you expect it, but mostly when you least expect it. Just as how you have acceptance about how you work, who you are, what you believe, it's important to accept that there is so much of life you cannot control. And the key here is to have resilience on your side. Lastly, taking intentional action is a skill that takes time and practice to develop, just like we practice habits. This is another kind of habit. To be in the habit of asking yourself the questions, of accepting how you work best and working your approach to projects and to any aspect of life around that, it's a muscle you want to build. Please don't get discouraged if you don't see results immediately, but you may be surprised. Please take the steps, try the things, and keep at it. And not only will you get better at it, you'll experience more and more benefits at every step. As always, I would love to know what you thought about this topic. Is this something that you've been thinking about, that you've been challenged with? What way today are you going to try to take intentional action in your life? I'd love for you to message me and let me know. Catch me on social media, post this episode, and let others know what you're doing to make changes. Let's keep spreading this message and inspiring each other. And thank you for being here with me, for being intentional about listening to this episode and to this podcast. I am so grateful for you. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback or questions, you can find me through the Connect page of the positivelyproductive.com website. And if you're looking for any of the resources mentioned here, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.